nothing more than feeling.
Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. Eric, good call. Yes, feelings. That's what we're talking about.
That's right.
People are upset with what's going on in their homeowners association and what they want to try and legislate, or how they're feeling
I
about
want
things.
legislation that will protect my feelings, that will prevent you from hurting my feelings.
Yes. And what we're talking about is the state of Utah wants to put together an ombudsman office. By the way, folks, you're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. It's good to have you with us here on this Sunday morning. And we're broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios, brought to you by Extreme Exteriors.
Now, at the end of the last segment, Gene, on our way out, you said, I hope we never end up with an ombudsman's office in the state of Minnesota. I think you should clarify that a little bit. Are you saying you don't want an entity that people can take their complaints to? You don't want people to have that outlet?
No, I don't want there to be the state of Minnesota to feel that they can create an office to understand and know what is going on at the level of a homeowners association. Right. I do think that there are appropriate checks and balances in place.
Yep.
There are in our federal government. There is in our state government. There is in a homeowners association, and it's what is written in the governing documents.
That's right. And it's contractual as well. When you purchase a home in a homeowners association, you're signing a contract promising certain things. And that piece is totally dropped by all this crazy legislation.
One of the chief reasons that I am not for an ombudsman office is because I think the state of Minnesota or state of Utah or whatever state that would create something like this would be getting involved in private contractual agreements between individuals, and they have no place.
That's right.
In that equation.
That's right, because usually what they're doing is they're trying to alter that contract that was already promised. You signed a contract that said you cannot put a 20-foot flagpole in your front yard. Well, now the state wants to step in and say, oh, by the way, we're going to take that out. We're going to remove that from your contract you agreed to, and say you can put a flagpole in the front yard. It's craziness.
Yeah.
In Utah, there's people that are opposing this bill that have some good things to say, too. One person said, we feel the contracts written for homeowners and associations already have a form of resolution, and it's better to handle issues at the private level rather than involve the state. That's what you and I say over and over and over again. It's a total redundancy. There's no need to get government involved.
Yeah, you're right. First of all, in any community, homeowner association, in an apartment building, we've talked about this. If someone has a disagreement about someone else, first I think that person ought to talk to their neighbor face to face,
Yes. Gosh, we're so afraid to do that.
Yes. We want someone else to just take care of it for me. But instead, why not be a neighbor? Why not come to a consensus? Why not come to an agreement?
We've really lost that ability to speak to each other civilly about difficult matters. I think it's hard, and we deal with this every day. There's always someone mad at me about something in my work life. I'm sorry to say, but that's the case. And I think I'm dreading calling this person because it's going to be a difficult conversation. But I have to do it. Yeah. It's my job to do it, and I've learned how to handle volatile situations in a respectful manner.
One of the most insidious things that has taken place because of technology.
Yeah.
And I really believe this. And that is, it allows for the relationship to become more impersonal. Because if you can text, if you can email, you don't even have to listen to someone on the other end of the phone where you can hear context. You can
hear their tone of voice.
Hear their tone of voice.
Oh, my gosh.
And how they are.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier. And I know there are some of our property managers who will have someone who will say, oh, boy, this person's really mad. And you can always tell. You know how you can tell someone's really mad at you when they're emailing?
How?
All of the letters are typed in capital letters. because that's the universal sign of shouting at someone.
You're reminding me, many years ago, I was sending a notice out to all the owners in a homeowners association, and I capitalized one sentence because I wanted to emphasize it. It was like the meat of the message.
Yeah.
Like, please do this by the first of the month.
Someone
or
thought they were being
happening.
chided, didn't they?
Yes. Someone complained to me, why are you shouting at me? I really object to this type of notice.
Exactly.
And it took me by surprise.
Exactly. That's what goes on. And there are some people who will always send an email, who will always send a text message because they do not want to confront. Because guess what?
Yeah.
If you have to see the person, if you have to talk to them and meet them face to face, have you noticed how it's so much easier for someone to be so much more vitriolic in their message when the person isn't there than when the person's standing next to them.
Yes.
One of the reasons why it's so great in our legal system that you have a right to be confronted with your accuser is for that very reason.
That's
it's
right.
because someone's not going to say the same thing when someone else is present.
Yeah.
They're going to hold their own, and that's why
they're going to be more respectful. They want to come across as more reasonable.
That's what's taking place with an ombudsman office is you're creating a greater degree of
separation,
impersonal, I guess, interaction here that is going to cause or create this to be even greater than before.
You're bringing to mind something else. I've advised for many, many years my boards to invite someone to the board meeting to address the board directly. This person is so angry about this, or they're so upset, and boards will get nervous. Oh, they're going to come to the meeting. They're going to show up at the meeting, and we're going to have to listen to them, and they're so angry. And I always advise them, wait and see. You're going to find out that it's going to be much easier to have a sane conversation with this person face to face.
Mm-hmm.
And it always seems to happen that way. All of a sudden, they're not using bad language. They're not calling people names. They're not falling into this emotional tirade. They start getting more rational.
Yeah.
They start stating facts a little clearer, and it's a much better and more communicative process.
Yeah. Now, if you're living in an apartment, for example, we've talked about this, I don't know how many times on the show.
Yeah.
Let's say you don't know the person who's next door.
Yep.
And they're playing something loud. You just want to just send something out to management saying, get these people to shut off their contraption. This is awful.
Yeah.
But if you know that person is a single parent, and you know that it's late afternoon, and you hear that loud music, you think, you know what? That's really not Mary Ellen.
That's her 12-year-old.
That's her
daughter.
12-year-old, and as soon as you personalize it, as soon as you have a name and you know people, you deal. You deal with people and give them a little bit more. Show a little more goodwill.
You go knock on the door. You say, I'm so sorry, but you know what? Your music is very loud today. Would you please turn it down? That's going to elicit a much better response than if you send the police to knock on the door, or if you send the management to send them a nasty letter.
Yeah.
The personal touch. We need the personal touch.
Exactly. And this ombudsman office, you're right. That is the one thing that will be taken out of this equation. Is that personal touch?
Yeah.
One of the things that Mr. Litvak, who is the state representative who is bringing up this bill, he says, and this is one of his reasons for it. He says there are situations out there that are untenable for condo owners. And so he is creating this bill because situations are untenable. I would like to say, Mr. Litvak, there's a lot of things that are untenable.
Yeah.
Isn't it untenable for the person who's out of work? Isn't it untenable for the person who is a single parent with children? Isn't it untenable for people and being able to make ends meet and purchasing food? Mm-hmm. Isn't it untenable when someone has a car that always breaks down? It's called life.
That's right. But darn it, we're going to make the homeowners association responsible for all of those things.
Yeah, we want to try and create and get away all of the bad things that are going on because again, you can't do it. You can't you can't legislate all this stuff. You can't make life perfect for people.
Right. That's right.
And as a matter of fact, in this bill, you do what you put this in place. You take away some of the key essential things that make being a human being, that make us that make us different in being able to interact with one another, to be able to learn to live in harmony, to be able to work things out, to build a consensus. All of that is gone.
Yeah.
I think it's just terrible.
Yeah.
Hey, well, we're going to take another break. When we come back, we've got one more story for you. Just one more segment here on Where You Live with Gene and Tony, so don't go away.